day and welcome to another edition of Citizens Movement Radio News. Today is Friday, the 20th of June 2025. I'm Bernard Stele, ready to bring you the latest news and updates. Here are today's headlines on Citizens Movement Radio News. Opposition urged to push for wholesale electoral reforms before plunging into another election. A great new Zimbabwe must be a collective effort, says President Chamisa. Government accused of protecting Gukurahundi perpetrators for wanting to hold closed-door hearings. Now let's delve into the detailed stories. Renowned lawyer advocate Abani Mpofu, who represented President Chamisa in challenging the 2018 election results, has urged the opposition to demand for wholesale electoral reforms before plunging into another general election. Posting on X today, advocate said the opposition must not repeat the mistake of 2023 of participating in another flawed election. Meanwhile, opposition official Stephen Sago's Chuma said there is need for united efforts from all progressive forces to push for electoral reforms. Chuma said.
Yes, we welcome statements by Advocate Abani Mpofu that the opposition must push for electoral reforms before another general election. But while it is important that the opposition must take the lead in pushing for electoral reforms, we would like to call upon all progressive citizens in Zimbabwe so that we have unified efforts in pushing for electoral reforms in this country. We call upon the student community, the church, the workers, vendors, and all progressive forces to coalesce and demand for electoral reforms, because at the end of the day, if there are disputed elections, it means they are going to affect all of us as citizens. We have seen it in 2018, we have seen it in 2023, where elections were done without reforms, and the outcome obviously got criminals like Emerson Mnangagwa at the helm. Now it's corruption everywhere. So it is a duty of every citizen to demand and push for electoral reforms. We can't continue to have the same situation where elections are done and to have no clear winner and there are issues of rigging. We need to have an election that is going to bring about a civilian leader, that is going to bring about change in this country, an election that is going to bring about a president who is elected by the people, not by the gun.
Citizens President Advocate Nelson Chamisa has said there is need for collective aspirations for a new great Zimbabwe to be born. Posting on his social platforms, Advocate Chamisa also reviewed a meeting with Dr. Nkosana Moyo, who is highly regarded as one of the country's progressive politicians. Political analyst Simba Mkori said Advocate Nelson Chamisa must form a political movement with all progressive forces in order to stand a chance to unseat ZANU-PF from power. Mukori said.
Indeed, it is with great joy and immeasurable jubilation that we note the noble pronouncement by the citizens, President Advocate Nelson Chamisa, that there is need for collective aspirations for a great Zimbabwe to be born. And it is heartening that he has also reviewed his interaction with the Dr. Nkosana Moyo, who is one individual highly regarded even in the political landscape of Zimbabwe, and not only in the political landscape, but even his academic achievements speaks volumes as to the competencies and the capabilities that the man has. We do have quite a number of individuals that have got competencies and capabilities that, if they are put to good use, can be able to proffer solutions to the multifaceted problems that the country is beset with. And we have always been advocating and agitating for such a collective thinking in Zimbabwe, where all the competent, capable, progressive forces who are pro-democracy, who have been fighting for transparency and accountability, we have been fighting for the prosperity of the greater majority of our people, we have been fighting against the corruption that has been perpetrated against the majority of our people by ZANU-PF, that these individuals must come together and form a formidable political movement headed by advocates not from Chamisa that can be able to stand a chance against the tyranny, the authoritarianism, and dictatorship of the current plutocratic and kleptocratic regime under the administration of none other than Dambudzo Mnangagwa. And it is heartening to notice that advocates Nelson Chamisa is indeed also encouraging and urging the people of Zimbabwe and even those who have got the capacity to come together in order to unite and form a collective effort that will be channeled towards dismantling the system of thievery, the system of corruption, the system of kleptocracy that has been foisted upon the people of Zimbabwe. This is quite heartening. It is quite encouraging. And we also want to add our voice to his utterances that this is the way to go. Unity amongst all progressive pro-democracy forces in Zimbabwe is the way to go. Let it not only be Dr. Nkosazana Moyo, but let it be Job Scala, let it be Tendai Biti, let it be, if possible, Hopo Chimono, let it be all those that are littered around the country of Zimbabwe. Even in Zimbabwe and outside Zimbabwe in the diaspora, we have got great minds whose minds, if brought together to reason together, to proffer and offer solutions to the multifaceted problems that beset our country, Zimbabwe will be rescued from the grip of this scourge, this pandemic that is called greater misery in Zimbabwe. And allow me to finish off by congratulating his advocate Nelson Chamisa on even putting these perspectives to the people of Zimbabwe to start thinking along those lines. Thank you.
Ibechu Likazulu, a pressure group advocating for justice for Gukurahundi genocide victims, has condemned the government's decision to hold Gukurahundi hearings led by traditional chiefs starting on June 26 in private rather than public. The group argues that this decision is deliberately designed to protect the perpetrators of the massacres rather than support the victims. They have said that closed hearings will fail to bring closure to the genocide, which claimed over 20,000 lives in Matabeleland and Midlands. Former Finance Minister Tendai Biti has said the country is now a full-blown kakistocracy, a term which refers to a government run by the least qualified individuals. Biti said Mnangagwa's government is anchored on corruption, lack of accountability, and populism, which has seen the country losing millions of US dollars in corruption tender deals. Fresh from begging another $500 million US corruption tender, Emerson Mnangagwa's ally Whitney Ojivayo yesterday paraded his new US $400 million Rolls-Royce Cullinan. Bulawayo Mayor Councillor David Coulthard described Chivayo's extravagant spending as simply obscene in the context of hundreds of thousands of Zimbabwean children being out of school due to non-payment of school fees. Veteran trade unionist Robert Masaraure echoed Coulthard's sentiments, accusing Mnangagwa's government of supporting corruption instead of fixing crisis in the education sector. Masaraure said,
without value in these luxuries is always a reminder of how the state is decayed, how the state has been corrupted to stop serving the interests of the people and save the interests of the elite. It's so embarrassing for Emerson Mnangagwa, who fought in the liberation struggle, to be presiding over these levels of corruption, over these levels of greed. We don't even know how Emerson himself speaks, because when you're presiding over a state that fails to give basic education to children, that fails to give health care to your people, that fails to just give people clean water or housing. But we are so comfortable to see state resources being flashed on executive luxuries like big cars, things that don't really add value to people's lives. We wonder how Emerson sleeps at night. We wonder where is that peer generation that went to war with this view from Guturahundi. we don't no longer have anyone maybe like Kunze. If they are ready for all people to not access to them, that coverage, we have an agenda to save the people. Well, now the agenda is to save Emerson and this cartel, Emerson and his friends. We sit agreeing, blowing money all over the place, showing off all the resources that we have siphoned from the state. Yet, lecturers that invest from Zimbabwe, strike over system. What has so gone wrong in our society? And where are the citizens? Where is the conscience of the citizens to resist this bullshit? We can't. The citizens are so silent in their poverty. But the institution almost everything. It's unacceptable. We urge the people of once again, we will come together and fight back. The first starting point is the reform states, and we should begin by demanding the National Transition Authority to restructure the state.
More than 6 years after work began on Masvingo Bedbridge Highway, the road remains incomplete despite the government sounding progress. Opposition official in Mwenezi, Tinei Mapepa, said the road rehabilitation program remains incomplete in areas between Ngundu and Mwenezi, making it difficult for haulage trucks and buses to pass through the area. Former Deputy Minister of Finance and former ZANU-PF MP from Mtoko South, David Chapfika, died yesterday in a road accident. Chapfika's Mercedes-Benz ML vehicle reportedly collided with another vehicle, killing one person on the spot before landing on its roof after falling off the bridge. The country's roads have become a death trap under ZANU-PF successive governments due to years of neglect. HIV/AIDS related deaths since January are on a rise as compared to the same period last year. This was revealed by Health Minister Douglas Mombeshora in Parliament this week, but he allayed fears that the shoot-up in deaths is caused by cutting of donor funds, but failed to give the actual cause of the rise. Earlier this year, US President Donald Trump halted US support program for healthcare, but antiretroviral drug supply situation has returned to normalcy in clinics. Despite collecting AIDS levies since 1990s, ZANU-PF government depends on donations for HIV drugs. Minister of Health and Childcare Douglas Mombeshora this week told Parliament that the government can only provide free consultation to the vulnerable groups like the elderly, but not free treatment. The minister says those who want free treatment must get forms for such from the Minister of Social Welfare. Opposition MP Honorable Koban Madzivanyika told the minister that many people are dying in homes due to lack of money to pay for treatment. Now let's take a look at our sports news. Dynamos finally remembered how to win a match in the Kasolaga Premier Soccer League after beating Yada 1-0 at Rufaro Stadium in Harare yesterday. Moors moved back to the top of the table after coming from behind to beat Cape United 2-1 at Ngoni Stadium in Norton. Triangle resurgence continued at Bata Stadium in Gweru as they thumped basement side Kwekwe United 3-0. In FIFA Club World Cup, European champions PSG were beaten by Brazilian side Botafogo 1-0 yesterday. Another Brazilian side, Palmeiras, beat African representatives Al Ahly 2-0 to leave the Egyptian side on the brink of exiting the competition. Lionel Messi scored the match-winning free kick as Inter Miami came from behind to beat FC Porto 2-1. Atletico Madrid beat Seattle Sounders 3-1 for their first win of the tournament. To conclude our Citizens Movement Radio News, here are the headlines once more. Opposition urged to push for wholesale electoral reforms before plunging into another election. A new Great Zimbabwe must be a collective effort, says President Chamisa. Government accused of protecting Gukurahundi perpetrators for wanting to hold closed-door hearings. The news on CMRI English was brought to you by Bernard Schele. Me and the whole team wishes you all a good night and have a pleasant weekend.